Yeah.
Oh,
Is that on the budget?
They replaced the bulb and he checked it and it was fine. I don't know what time of day it went down, but
I thought that was a spring.
Back about a few weeks ago, one of the other village board meetings, we were supposed to have a village meeting at 6. And I looked at the packet, the budget packet, got it on Friday and looked at it over the weekend. And I saw some stuff that, just didn't look right to me. So I couldn't really talk to Lisa until the first of the week, so I decided to, kind of postpone the budget. And from that time until now, I know Lisa's had a second chance to look at it, as Trustee Weiss, and with the help of Greg as well. So I'll turn it over to Lisa and Trustee Weiss, and you can kind of go over it, go through what was found. And I know the transmittal letter pretty much explains a lot.
yeah, it does. You want to talk?
Yeah, I think when you look at the transmittal letter, it pretty much explains the process of what we took to reduce the budget. I think the thing that when we see that the balance of the budget, what was left over, we noticed that the approaches to the balancing of the budget to meet the shortfalls, this is how we approached it. If you go to the third page of the transmittal letter, I don't know if anybody's there yet, but basically it explains that for year 18-19, amount of $125,000 was loaned to the general fund from the capital fund. It is recommended that a one-time loan forgiveness be provided in the amount of $97,945. As stated above, there will be no adjustment on the impact earlier on approved capital budgets. Also, that because of the cell tower sale, we were losing a revenue stream for 1 year of $58,000. And that left a hole also. So in order to do that, we directed for our final year to put the cell tower revenue proceeds back in line again to do that. So we can, for the year coming forward, then we can account for that and then move forward and see how we can replace that revenue stream for the 2021 years. Then, if the board chooses to move forward with the two recommendations above, it remains a deficit of $144,467. A balanced budget can be achieved by utilizing the unused funds of $145,280 from the $325,000 loan taken last fiscal year to support the E911 consolidation. And then also, this will leave us a surplus of $813 in the general fund. So that's why this transmittal letter showed especially the approaches to the balance in the budget and what we've reduced and increased in the final budget. This is how we came up with a positive of $812 from a deficit of $540,000.
Right. I know of the $97,945 forgiveness and the $58,000, which is going to be taken out of the cell tower,
Right.
and put back into the general fund. That will bring us to a balanced budget. Anybody have any questions on that?
I did have one comment. There was Pat had said that there was an adjustment needed in his department from just an invoice from one year to the other. Anyway, we need to adjust it at $3,000.
I provided a recap. It has to do with the TIF project and an invoice that came in for publications that were done in early April, but we didn't receive until late April after the final work. That totaled about $3,000. And I have received, and so the board is aware, invoices from the consultant in excess of what our agreed to not to exceed amount is. I've notified them that I'm unable to pay them. That was last month. They sent me another one this month. So now I've asked Bob to help me draft a letter to give them a formal position. But at any rate, that's going to add up to about another $4,500. I don't know how contested it will be, but we have a contract for not to exceed numbers. So there's potential, depending on how they proceed with that invoicing plus that $3,000, it could be as much as $7,500. It's a minimum of $3,000, could be as much as $7,500.
What's that first invoice for? Is that for the tip as well?
That's, yeah, both of these are for the TIF. The first was for the publications we had to do for the public hearing on April 2nd.
Okay.
The billing wasn't received and paid until after the last pay work in April. I also did a recap. The budget last year provided for the TIF project was $55,000. As of this point in time, we've spent $39,650. And even with this additional $7,500, it would be about $46,000 overall, so still well within what we had initially projected for a total cost of the project.
Did they notify you on the excesses at all? I mean, you know?
Did they respond?
Yeah.
No.
No?
I contacted them in advance when I saw they were near it and suggested they were near it. Then when they sent one that would have put them over, I contacted them immediately and said that I'm unable to pay it, and then that was a month ago, and I just got another one this week that added, and said we're now past due, which is a little unusual, so I thought it would be better to put something in right.
What Bob has indicated is they were the ones that actually put the not to exceed in their proposal. Right, so, really their only course of action would be to approach us to try and renegotiate, but at this point, we're voting on the TIF this evening, and, you know, there's really no reason to reopen negotiations unless they had some, you know, surprise value add service that we're unaware of at this point.
Usually a company, when they know they're gonna exceed the budget, will usually notify you ahead of time. Usually.
That's right.
Before they go ahead and say, you know, we know something that we need to do this is gonna go over the not to exceed, but apparently.
Well, and I gave them 30 days advance warning that they were at the limit, to give them an opportunity to request that. They didn't. I don't know what to say about it. So again, I just want to be clear that I don't believe that we would be required to pay that additional money based on the terms of the contract. We may decide to for some reason, that would be up to the board.
That's a $4,500, correct?
Correct. The $3,000 was the bill that got paid, is in this warrant or whatever it is that I did not anticipate, so therefore I didn't include it on my line item this year.
And we'd be looking to carry over funds that we budgeted last year into this year.
Yeah, for at least, and I guess the board could consider it right now if you think that you might want to negotiate paying the consultant more money.
I'd wait to see what Bob Long
Correct.
does.
The other item that I thought of as well, that I just thought of, was related to 101 Sheridan Road and the board's decision to hire this company to archive it. We're waiting for the state to sign the agreement that you all approved. That money was going to come out of, not my budget, but out of the board's discretionary fund or something, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so obviously, that wasn't a part of last year's budget. I don't know if there's such a fund to be in existence this year, but I want to bring it to your attention. That there's money that I don't have in my budget related to that 101 share. And that was all.
Okay.
How much is the cost of that?
I want to say it was $7,600. Yeah, I think it was $7,600.
Not to exceed.
Always.
Maybe.
And it is not to exceed.
Very good. Thank you, Pat. Do we have anything else to discuss on the budget?
For the IT budget, I know we've been talking about website redesign. Is that money in the budget somewhere to do that this coming year?
That's in the community development budget.
Okay, so that the website money that we have today, we would just move over to whatever new.
Correct, that's
Right.
Yeah, under the tourism budget, there's a line item for, I think, $10,000 related to the website redesign.
They're going to need to go off RFP as well.
Correct.
Anything else?
Maybe you explained it, Trustee White, in there, so, covering the rest of that deficit, you laid out like the two options in there, and I Zona, did you talk about that just a few moments ago?
Did we, pardon?
Were you talking about, did you include that when you were talking a few moments ago, because I think I missed, about which of the two options we'd be taking?
A or B?
Yeah, as far as covering that deficit?
Yeah, that would be the options of, to take the remaining of the 9/11 fund, you know, taking part of that, and then
Well, that's,
also.
that's covered no matter what, right? Is that what, I thought the option was either the loan or taken from the cell towers.
Yeah,
Okay.
the cell tower, the 58,000 would be taken from the cell tower fund. That 58,000, because that's a revenue stream that we would be losing for the new year, for the new fiscal year. And that would put us in a deficit again.
It would just, what the two options were though, is one is taking we already have the loan for the unused
Right.
money.
And we can't repay that.
We
Yeah,
could,
we
that's
could.
another option, I'm sure, to do that, so that's one option.
So if we use the cell tower money, we could repay the loan sooner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So those are the two options.
Right, because no matter what, we're using I think because it's kind of spread out, that the 9/11 money in between it. So that's no matter what, the 179 from the consolidation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the two options for the rest of it, the balance of that, are either the leftover from the loans or pulling it from the general fund, from the cell towers, right?
Cell tower, yes.
Right, so is it more cost effective to use the cell tower money and repay the loan early, or is it not gonna benefit us that much?
I think it would probably benefit us more probably to pay back the loan.
What's the interest on that?
3.3.
Do you know the?
7 years.
Can we, let's say in the future, if we want to pay that, can we, let's say like in another month or two, decide to go ahead and do that?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
On the loan?
Yeah.
Payback.
Yeah.
You see, what we're trying to do is, throughout the course of the year, we have a lot of, where we have a lot of revenue shortfalls because of the way the state pays us and the way we get some of the funding. And then all of a sudden, we kind of get into the dip, and then all we have to then, all of a sudden.
Using the cell tower money, but keeping that loan money for what we can use it for now.
Right, and what we're gonna try to do for the 1920 years to level out those dips, so we don't always have to be going to the funds to do the operating and then pay it back. If you've read the last audit report, this is one of the things that the CPA firm said, that this is something they don't like for us to do. And so Lisa and I have a lot of work cut out for the next year to see how we can smooth that revenue source funding out, so we don't always have to go over the funds.
And that was the purpose of taking out the loans to begin with, right?
Right.
So it seems to make more sense to use the cell tower money and then go from there to see what do we need for the shortfalls and what can we pay back early, right?
Basically, if you want to simplify it, it's like having your charge card. You go grocery shopping, and you don't pay back the loan the next month for all the groceries that you paid for, you know? And that goes high and low, and that does incur extra expenses.
So we're getting at the 58,000 is gonna come out of the cell tower, and then we're gonna do option A, for the loan?
I thought we were talking about option B.
Okay, that's, okay.
They want to do
All right, I
that.
just want to clarify that. So option B is a one-time transfer of $144,467 to the general fund from the cell tower fund. Correct?
Right.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we get that in the records. All right. Any other questions on the budget? Okay, just need a motion to approve, or need a motion to approve the budget as we presented it.
Second.
But-
I need a motion.
Right.
I'm not saying a motion. I just-
I'm just not sure if that's correct.
Yeah, I think this is purely a planning meeting, so
Oh, okay.
we'll approve the budget at
Okay.
a regular board meeting.
Very good.
I think it's,
Yeah, I think if there's no other discussion, then we adjourn.
Then we need a motion to adjourn.
Well, excuse me,
Yeah.
one of the other
Yeah.
things on there is wage policy, and we'll just address that at another meeting also, or do you want to?
That'll do it.
We got time.
Yeah, let's just guess.
Well, we just, I mean, I guess, is there anything, what we did, as you saw in the, packet, was that 3% raises were given this year.
I approved at 3% across the board.
Across the board, until, you know, we need to get that wage analysis done and stuff like that for future use, and that's what we'll be doing. I just wanna make sure that, is there any questions on this as it says? So your budget would be approved then as they did it with the adjustments of your budget, with your salary?
Would that include that paramedic certification bonus that I had talked about?
Whatever was in your budget should be approved, correct?
So I don't think that was till after, right?
Yeah.
We need to, so you wanna discuss?
That would be one amendment that I would propose, just
Okay.
without getting into all the details. We are struggling for personnel. It's not just a Winthrop Harbor problem, it's a volunteer and part-time fire service problem nationwide. But in addition to trying to raise the hourly rate a little bit, I also have a problem getting people through paramedic class. Just because the time commitment for a part-time employee is incredible. So just a small token, I was wanting to add into my section of wage policy of who we send through class and get certified, we'll give them like a $2,000 bonus, not annual, one time when they get their certificate. And I think I can absorb that in my salary line anyway. I don't think that's gonna necessitate an increase in my bottom line. But it would be in addition to wage policies, so, and I believe it would need to be approved by boards, just all of a sudden say, hey, here's money for something that's not wage policy. And we already make people we send through class, since it is so expensive, sign a 4-year agreement with us that they would have to pay a portion of that back if they left before 4 years. This would be wrapped into that. So we'd have some security there if somebody gets certified and then leaves us right away. But just a small thing that I think will possibly help. Number one, retain some people. Number two, get some people to go through paramedic class, because that's ultimately what we need. We need paramedics. Unfortunately, it's just not the fire department anymore. The EMS is 80% of what we do, and if we don't have paramedics, which sometimes we don't, unfortunately, and we're having to rely on our neighbors, this is one little way to possibly help that.
So I think that's a good idea. I mean, but you feel you could absorb that in your budget?
Yeah, my projection right now is favorable, just because my roster is down. There's not as many people drawing training pay and call pay and stuff like that. And that's going to be that way for the foreseeable future. People aren't coming. People aren't applying as much as they used to be, so our numbers are down. We have some fixed costs as far as we know generally how many people we're going to have working at an hourly rate during the day and at night, but the callback pay and the training pay is what fluctuates, and it's in a downturn now because I just don't have as many people.
Right.
So yeah, I think but the bottom line number is safe. Just changing some wording and whatever amount we agree to bump those hourly rates is really the only question marks.
Okay, very good, Justin. Anything else, Lisa? on
No.
wage policy? Okay. Any other comments on wage policy?
We'll talk about the other proposed change to it during the regular board meeting.
Right. Yeah, next meeting we'll be discussing the issue. Okay. Anything else? No, just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Cargan?
Aye.
Levin? McCarthy?
Aye.
Funny.